Welcome to OG Gaming. I'm Isaac.
I'm Jason.
Today we are going to talk about rules. More specifically, how to find them and how to find clarity when you run into rules that are confusing or sound conflicting. Remember to like and subscribe our content if you find it valuable to you. What we really want to do is show you how to get to AMG's rule forum and really show you how good of a rule forum it is. One of the reasons we decided to make this is that we see a lot of people asking questions about rules or really specific rule interactions on the Facebook forums. And sometimes you get a good answer there. Sometimes you don't get a good answer there. If I had to just off the cuff make a guess, I would say something like 1/3 of the answers on Facebook are actually wrong or misleading or are maybe using language that's unclear. And so what we're not trying to say that, hey, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't ask questions on Facebook. What we're really trying to say is there are better sources, be it the AMG rules forum or just simply referencing the attack sequences on a symbol or on CritWild, or even Cerebro has references as well. And with that, I think we're going to go into a demo of how you can use or how you can access AMG's forum. It's really easy, and it's probably the best forum in all of miniature gaming. So if you just go to atomicmassgames.com, you'll see their site. They have kind of a scrolling banner at the top, right? And literally the first button on the site is their rules forum. Click it, and it takes you straight to the forum with the 4 categories of AMG games that you are interested in, right? So you have Marvel Crisis Protocol, and then there are 3 Star Wars franchises that they also publish, Legion, X-Wing, and Armada. As you can see, the popularity of the games from when AMG took it over has an impact as to how full the forums are, but you can see that Crisis Protocol and Star Wars Legion just have a ton of answers in them, right? Like they're full. So with that, we're going to jump into the forum, and you'll be able to see what it looks like and how accurate it is. So there it is. It's that easy. If you have a question to ask, your first best bet is to actually search the forum. And that is done on this bar at the top. And you'll notice that you can pick this forum or other forums in which you can do your search. And I'm just going to real quick search up one of my favorite characters, Rocket. So there you go. It's that easy. And here's all the special weird conditions that involve Rocket Raccoon, or other topics with the rocket keyword, like rocket pods or rocket boots, for example.
I'm going to note that sometimes when people ask rules questions, they don't actually reference the character they're asking the rules questions, and they'll just access the superpower. So you might have to do a couple searches, but you'll find it.
That is definitely true. I wanted to mention one small difference. So this rules forum I'm showing you right now from a PC, it also works really great from a phone. So just give me 1 second, and we are going to switch over, and you can see what it looks like on the phone. The only thing that I've noticed that you can't do from the phone, from mobile, is you aren't able to limit your search to a single individual forum. So if I look up, for example, Rocket, you will eventually find in here answers relating to, Star Wars. There's B2, maybe I was interested in Rocket Raccoon, and here's B2 Droids Rocket Troopers timing, right? And stuff about Mandalorians. But, I mean, if you know the difference between a Marvel property and a Star Wars property, it's pretty easy to filter out which one is the applicable one.
I'd like to mention on the mobile, because your phone did that so much smoother than my phone. Depending on your phone that you have, I have to hit the search button twice before it actually searches for that thing. It clears the screen and then searches and finds it. So just be patient with your mobile device. There's different levels of compatibility with your mobile devices. Ike has a newer phone than me. more than likely, or I have just put a whole bunch of garbage on my phone that it should probably be taken off.
Some of that. So, with that is how easy it is to access the forums. Now, one thing that might seem a little strange is that you actually use this start new topic to ask a question. So the questions are actually all little individual topics in this forum, and the staff from AMG or their moderators will answer your questions. And Jason, I feel like they typically get back within 24 hours.
Unless you really throw a ringer in there.
Yeah.
And then it might take 3 to 4 weeks. And then if you see Sarah from AMG answering it, you threw in some kind of broke the game kind of question.
That's right.
That they had to talk about in a roundtable. I'm just going to tell you right now, it's kind of funny, but it's not. But it's great that they get back to you and they take the time to think about it.
And
it's only happened a couple times. They take it super seriously. Like if you figure out how to break the game, and it's not easy to find in their actual rules, because they're very concise on the wording they use in their rules. A lot of people don't like it, and I think you pointed this out to me, Ike. But they're so concise that understanding grammar in English language is like not a thing that I do. So they do it so well. Yeah. Yep, they just put it in there and they understand what they're saying. But if it's not really clear in their rules, they'll talk about it. I think that's what's happening behind the scenes, and then they'll combine all the people that have asked that question into one giant thread, and then lock it down and answer it. So they do such a great job doing it, though. So
they are very disciplined in answering the question, having the answer be concise, making sure that they got all the pieces in there, and then when like that question has been answered and they consider it done, they lock the topic so that nobody else can add confusing stuff in there.
Yeah, we're going to just pull up a few for you guys so that you can see what we're talking about with some of the rules. Just these are things I have a lot of time to put like battle reports up or podcasts while I'm at work in the background and kind of watch them or see them. So I picked a few things that I see are missing in battle reports, or people are playing games at a tournament and you can't really interrupt a game to tell them that they're doing some rules wrong unless it's like, I don't know what the rules are for interrupting a game. I don't TO that often, so I'm just going to leave that to the professionals when you can interrupt a game and tell them something's going on. But they're recording these games and live streaming them. Sometimes they don't have a judge. They're doing TTS leagues or whatever. But we're going to start with Terrigen clouds and missing witnesses. And I chose this one because I see people doing it wrong so many times. So what happened is, I'll give Ludo here a shout out. Each player places all witness mist clouds tokens secured by their opponent within range 2 of their current position. Each token may be placed only this way once per round. Then the character within range 1 of the witness suffers 1 damage and either gains stun or poison. So we're talking about 2 different crises here, but they're worded the exact same. And that one does 1 damage and a stun, one does 1 damage and a poison. And he asked, does the place need to happen first for the damage condition to occur, or are both incidents independent from each other? For example, if 2 healthy characters, 1 allied and 1 enemy, are contesting the objective token, no one is securing it. And that is huge here, contesting, because you can be contesting the objective token just by being within 1 of it, but nobody is actually securing it because you have to have the most healthy characters to secure it. So the token wouldn't be placed. And he's asking if the 1 damage and condition are applied if the first condition isn't met. And Neglodar, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I think it's Neglodar. I think
it might be Negoldar? Yeah, Neglodar? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Neglodar, I don't know.
That's probably
cool name.
That's probably some like sci-fi property that we should know about that just don't happen to be into, and now we're embarrassing ourselves. But continue.
Oh yeah, that's guaranteed.
Yeah.
So he goes back and he answers this. In order for the damage and special condition to be applied, steps must be followed. This is in multiple places he points out, but I had a hard time finding it in the other places that he talked about, but it's here in this rule form, so it's great. The cloud/witness must be secured, and this is key right here. He should underline secure a couple times by a player for anything else to happen. It then moves, including staying where it is at if the player resolving the move decides to leave it there. Finally, the damage and special condition apply to the character within range 1 of it. And he goes, in your example, the token in question isn't secured, so the rest of the rule doesn't apply. So what that means is if nobody secured it and it didn't have the option to move, the damage in the condition aren't going out from those 2 crises. And I literally just watched a battle report. The professional casuals were streaming an event for an LVO open, and the token wasn't secured on Terrigen Clouds, but they still put the poison condition and took a damage on each of their characters. Like the players didn't know it. There's no judge just walking around at these tournaments to go, "Oh, you did that wrong," right?
Yeah.
But it's happening over and over.
Yeah.
I've seen this. I'm not saying that other people watching it didn't notice, but that doesn't happen. That damage and that poison shouldn't have went out when they each had equal contesting characters to that Terrigen Mist.
Yeah,
so.
and I want to throw out a shout out to the professional casual as well. They have a we don't interfere with your game policy. I played in front of them once and then watched a few of their been there live while they were filming. They might realize that the rule was done mistakenly or whatever, and they won't interrupt the game either, right? Like they will not act as a judge.
I don't think any streamer or spectator should interrupt
Exactly.
the game. There's certain rules that should absolutely be called out and done, but if you're not 100% sure because you haven't TO'd and you don't know which ones should be called out and they're doing it wrong and have to happen a certain way, then you should just keep your mouth shut and do nothing. Like if you're not 100% sure, you just, and they're not always 100% sure, and they admit that, so their policy is to not interrupt, and they do such a great job.
Yeah, they do a good job.
So this is just one of the rules that we thought we'd point out here because hopefully we can get the community to start doing these things right. Mm-hmm. And you probably could have lost or won a game based on a rule that you were doing wrong, and that's no fun.
I have definitely had that happen. Definitely Marvel Crisis Protocol, but oh my gosh, I had some Wookiees that were just underperforming one game. It turns out they had 3 health.
Yeah, you played an entire tournament game thinking that his Wookiees only had 2 health
each. So one thing I like about this particular answer, I mean, it plays into the discussion we were just having, where Nagoldar, who's one of the moderators, you can tell because he has the little shield. That's how you can be absolutely certain that you're getting.
He's one of Atomic Mass's staff, I think.
Oh yeah, he is. And this is how you know you are getting, the definitive answer. Comes from somebody with a little shield, and he locked the topic, right? And he mentioned that, hey, there is a place where you can find additional information, and super quick, I'm going to show that. So he mentioned that you can go to the FAQ, the Frequently Asked Questions, and right under the rules forum is the official rules guide there. This is the PDF, and right underneath that, there's the PDF. Right underneath that is that FAQ and errata. So it is all co-located. It's really easy to find. On that note, let's head back to the next question that we thought would be a good thing to discuss. All right, you want to take it away?
Yes, Blue Gunner 38. I think that's how I would pronounce his name. If you attack Red Fury on Venom, does Venom get to resolve his so many snacks before assault rifle attack? Because there is a period after the push. Does it make the assault rifle attack not part of the attack sequence like the push is? So Red Fury, after this attack is resolved, target character is pushed away from the character small, then immediately makes an assault rifle attack, attacking the character. This is in reference to, 14. Is it steps 14, A, B, and C?
I think it is. And to be
Yes,
honest,
it
I
is.
feel like steps 14A, B, and C, you'll hear us reference this on the channel. They're almost like their own character.
Yeah, so
They're so
that's-
important.
they're so important in the attack sequence. So if you ever pull up the attack sequence and look at it, a symbol has a really good chart, but their numbers don't line up with what's in the rules reference on page 25 and 26, I do believe, or the rules, not even the rules reference, the rules.
Yeah, we can take a quick look, possibly here.
Yeah.
So this is the Symbol Apps reference guide, and you'll see that they have it as 15, but they do have A, B, and C correct down there at the very bottom. It's very detailed, and it has all the steps. For some reason, the numbering is just slightly different.
Yeah, it's really good. The symbol one is phenomenal if you're in a tournament and you just can't remember when something happens in the sequence and you want to be able to point that out to somebody. Doesn't really require internet, which makes it easy to pull up.
Makes it easy, because if you're at like a con, oh man, there's a great chance you don't have internet, right? So a symbol's a good one to have.
I use all of them, so it's kind of weird. I have all of them. So I use CritWild, Assemble, Cerebro if I have a computer up. So he does not know. So Thoros here comes in and answers it. Unless the special rule is separated by a line break or reward, additionally, it is all one rule unless specified otherwise. Later portions of the rule will allow following timing steps established in earlier portions. This means assault rifle attacks still occurring with the after attack result. So what he's saying is at 14A, so you've done your assault rifle, you've pushed the character away, which is Venom in this case, and then Bucky, good old Bucky, we go to step 14A, which we've got up here, apply attacker's effects. Attacker's effect is to do an assault rifle attack. And this is kind of important to note. So now he's going to do his assault rifle attack, which also has a rapid fire, which we're going to get to 14A again before Venom is ever going to get to 14B, which allows him to use so many stacks and attack back.
Right.
So if Venom's still alive, he'll be able to attack back. More than likely, he's not going to be able to attack back. And I don't know where it is in the rules form. It might be in this. There's more stuff that people are asking in this rules form. But after this attack is resolved, the target character is pushed away small. If that push doesn't occur, just an FYI, guys, I'm just going to point this out because we're talking about it. He doesn't get the assault rifle attack. So if you use Domino or something to stop the push, or if you've got Magneto, which can stop the push, or some other character's got a superpower that's stopping the push, the assault rifle will never go off. So he can push you and not actually move you, just like referenced in the previous rule thing that we just said, what Terrigen missed. So if they push you but you don't actually move, you're still pushed. So, but you have to be pushed. If it says you cannot be pushed because of a special rule, then the assault rifle is not going to go off. Then in that case, the assault rifle never goes off, the rapid fire never happens, and Venom gets to do his return attack.
And in a way, this is just like the previous rule we were looking at. If you don't meet one of the earlier conditions in the effect or the superpower or whatever, then the rest of it stops. Right? Did you have anything? Oh, go ahead.
I think this is kind of pointing out something that I see a lot at the current meta that we play in, where they get after effects confused with beam attacks and area attacks.
Right.
So just so you know, on a beam or an area attack, they will resolve, like each attack will resolve all the way through 14A, B, and C.
Each attack gets a whole sequence.
It gets a whole sequence, and so Venom would be able to retaliate in between before going to the next attack, because the next attack isn't an after effect; it's a whole separate attack.
Right. So, like, if you had Venom, Groot, and Rocket all lined up, and you beamed all three of them, and you chose to make your first attack against Venom, Venom would get to do his so many snacks before you got a chance to target and attack Rocket and Groot, which is why you want to do Venom last.
And that's on a beam or area attack, not on
a
Fury.
flurry or a Red Fury. Red Fury or a rapid fire, because those will all get to 14A before Venom gets to do his 14B.
Yeah, anything with After Effects. It's just the After Effect thing is what people get confused.
Right.
Some things have After Effects, some things don't. So
that's right.
We just wanted to point that out. So
it seems strange that when the attack is resolved is not actually the end of the attack sequence, but there's just a tiny bit left at the end that causes this confusion. Did we want to move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's move on.
All right. Everybody's favorite kitty cat.
Everybody's favorite kitty cat.
We love the kitty cat.
Actually, we just pulled up this rule thing. Even though it's on the kitty cat, it is great for some of the rules that people are struggling with. So, Dizard here. Does Cloak of Shadows make skulls treated as a crit for both players? For instance, Dormammu is attacking Malekith. Malekith pays for the skulls. Would Dormammu get to count them as successes, or are they treated as crits? The Cloak of Shadows superpower does not state that this character treats as crits. It just states that skulls are treated as crits for the roll entirety. So it's a great question. He worded it very well. Forrest goes out of his way to take up all confusion on the subject. Excellent. This is why we pulled this one up, in my opinion. He just comes in and just crushes it out of the park, explaining so many different rule interactions that are going on. I'm going to go through this real quick. When counting a certain result as assessed, the result never changes. It just overrides the core rules to which result count as successes. So what he's saying is that is now, even though it's a skull, like on Cloak of Shadows, if you paid for it, that skull just counts as a crit.
But you never turn the die.
Yeah, all the way through 14C, by the way.
Yeah.
All the way through 14C. You never turn the die. So then he goes on to explain it even further. When modifying a result, you're physically changing a dice from one result to another. This is generally accomplished either via rerolls or just changing it from some other effect. I'll go a little bit further. Cover is modifying a die and changing it. Rerolls are changing a die. Gamora's God Slayer ability, where she takes she counts her wilds and then changes another face of a die. She's physically changing those dice. So they're actually moving. Whereas Cloak of Shadows, the dice aren't moving. They just stay as skulls, but they're treated as crits, or Reality Gem in this case, or Domino's manipulation factor. So then he goes on to explain that, what I just said. When treating a result as another type, you are not actually physically modifying the results. You're just saying that this is a new type of result. When treating a die as another die, that die is effectively the new type for all game purposes. Venom and other abilities that prevent a character from modifying their defense dice prevent the second type, which is physically changing the die type, like cover or rolling dice. Okay. Dormammu adds the number of failure results. So this is where people kind of get confused, and I've seen this argued at the store a couple times. So Dormammu adds a number of failure results in the defense roll to its total successes when attacking. If the defender were to count failures as successes, Scarlet Witch, then both Dormammu and the defender would get to count them as successes, because he counts the skulls in their defense roll. She counts skulls as successes. Okay. However, if the defender was to treat the failure as a critical, Domino, our favorite kitty, Dormammu does not, or Corvus with the Reality Gem, Dormammu does not get to add those results because they're no longer failures; they are criticals.
That's right.
This is huge when looking at game mechanics, and it gets confused a lot. So, I just wanted to cover this one, just because it's coming up a lot, especially with people playing their favorite kitty. The kitty's starting to get beat a lot. I don't know if people are seeing that. All the people think it should be nerfed. It didn't even show up but 5 times out of 24 lists at this last big tournament for the thing, and I don't think I saw it at the final table. Not in Nashville. There was a tournament in Maine or Manhattan or something. I don't know. Just this last weekend.
Maine, Manhattan, Montana, Missouri, whatever. It's
somewhere on the East Coast. I didn't actually look at where the tournament was. It was too far away for me to travel. Um, but this discussion goes on further and further, and Nobility adds something in with Ghost Rider's Wicked Judgment. So he's trying to say that Cloak of Shadows text specifically states that you treat failure as a crit for the remainder of this attack. Basically, in step 14, resolve effects that happen after the attack is so. Before that, the attack technically says it's resolved, right? But the attack isn't done until 14C is over.
That's
so
correct.
People that have superpowers, and Negladar comes back and answers this, but he doesn't answer it in a way that most people, if you don't have an understanding of the rules, would probably understand. He says attacks are not fully resolved until the timing chart is complete. That happens after 14C is complete. So that confused a few people. So I'm just going to go a little bit further and say that attack is still treating those dice as crits that they paid for in Cloak of Shadows, Manipulation Probability, or Reality Gem until 14C, which allows in 14B somebody like Ghost Rider to hit Wicked Judgment. Wicked Judgment, and just if you're within 3 of Ghost Rider and attack somebody other than Ghost Rider, all your crits are going to be counted as damage. So all the things you paid for, plus all the natural crits that you rolled, are all being treated as crits, meaning that you're going to take all the damage from that because the attack's still going on and those are still being treated as crits until after 14C. So just throwing that out there. Did I cover that right?
Yeah, no, you totally got it. Yep. It's, I'm trying to think of another character that would have an interaction that would happen there other than Ghost Rider. I'm struggling to come up with anything.
Oh, there's got to be something, right?
I'm sure there is. And in the future, there will definitely be more. But right now, and Ghost Rider gets a lot of play on the table, right? So Ghost Rider's the one you got to watch out for.
Well, at least in our meta. Oh
yeah.
My God.
And Malekith's popular right now. Ghost Rider's always been popular. You see a lot of Scarlet Witch. So these, when a die is showing one face but is treated as another face or is counted as a success is a thing that will come up.
But there's just this plethora of information out here on the rules forums. We're just getting you guys so that you can go find it. And like I said, sometimes the discussion goes awry on social media outlets about what's actually happening. And some people are saying this actually happens. Some people are saying this. This is the definitive answer by going to the forums. And without having to ask and wait for an answer, more than likely you can just find the answer, which will save you so much time, hassle, and frustration, especially if you're in the middle of a game and just trying to play it out, right?
Exactly.
So.
Yep. I've come here in the midst of a game, like probably a dozen times, and basically it's always worked. I've always been able to find the answer within 2 minutes, 5 minutes, something. In addition to the rule forum, Jason, there are some other sources that you can use. Did you want to talk about those real quick?
Yeah, as you get to know the rules a little bit better, these reference sources that are out there on a symbol, it's an app in CritWild. They're just roster building apps, but they have some rules references that are really good and easy to get to the thing. I guess just get you some really quick references to commonly found answers. Mainly, to me, is the attack sequence, because just understanding the attack sequence or knowing when something happens during the attack sequence is a huge step in understanding the rules. Most of the other rules just kind of come easy. Maybe you need to know a condition or something. I will say a symbol doesn't require an internet connection to go back and forth. So when you're looking up this rules references, that's a little bit better in my opinion. However, CritWild is where I probably design all my rosters. They update the cards a little bit faster, put things in there. But it does kind of talk to the internet to pull up the cards and stuff, so it takes a little bit longer. So
it does.
But those rule references are just, you kind of have an understanding of the rules. You just need to know what happens in the timing, or you need to know like a condition or something.
All right. I feel like we might have hit everything we need to hit here.
I think we have. I don't think we need to go a lot further other than understanding 14A, B, and C. It confuses the most players, causes the most salt to hit the table. Attacks like Rapid Fire, Flurry, the Red Fury that we talked about, all happen in the 14B thing. Beam attacks happen as separate attacks. So you're going to get beam and area attacks typically happen in a secondary attack. But yeah, you can just always
go to the forums.
Go to the forums. Pull up that timing chart if you got a chance, and see if you can just answer the question on your own because you know the timing chart.
Right.
Which, once people understand the timing chart out there, it gets so much easier. And
yep.
And that's where 90% of the rules happen, is in that attack sequence. There's some outlying rules like cover or line of sight, but yeah.
All right. With that, remember to like and subscribe if you got some value out of this content. And I think that's it for today. Do you want to do a catchphrase?
I don't have no catchphrases.
He ain't got no catchphrases. Take it easy.
Have a great one.